So now let's discuss the backup and archiving. Historically, the first Unix archiver utility, also known as AR, developed in 1971 in AT&T, that maintains groups of files as a single archive. Today, AR is generally used only to create and update static library files, which internally are simply archive with object files which compiled from source files. That libraries, the link editor or linker uses. An implementation of AR is included as one of the GNU bin utils. But the most widely used archiving tools are the tar and CPIO. The tar is a tape archiver, originally developed in AT&T at the end of 70s for storing data on magnetic tapes. It saves many files together into a single tape or disk archive, and you can restore individual files from the archive. The basic operations with a tar archive: C. Create archive. T. List files in archive. And X. Extract files from archive. Useful options: V. Verbose. F. File or device file for archive. Dash, in this case, used as the name of file, means standard input or output. The GNU version also supports compressing, decompressing archives. Dash A means autocompress, use archive suffix to determine the compression program. Large Z, compress, the oldest Unix compress program. Archive suffix is tar large Z. Smaller Z, it means standard JZip, JUnzip, with archive suffixes tar JZ or just TGZ. J, small j, it's bzip2, tar bzip2, or just tz2, or just tbz2. Z. And finally, capitalized J, it means XZ compressor with archive suffixes tar XZ or just TXZ. For standard classical Unix tar, external compression, decompression programs should be used by this way. Tar create archive to standard output, some files, gzip -c to some archive. For looking in our compressed archive, we may use such command. And for getting of some file from this archive, the main problem with compressed archives is if you have some corruption in the middle of the archive file, you will lose all the content from the tail. Just because this format is focused on storing on the tape, and all the metadata about files stored sequentially. Not in some central directory. And if you want to improve the reliability of your data, it makes sense to compress the files separately and put them in an uncompressed archive. So another widely used archiving tool is CPIO. The basic operations with it or create T or list print a table of contents of the input, I extract, and also P, pass through, so-called copy-pass mode. CPIO copies files from one directory tree to another, combining the copy out and copy in steps without actually using an archive. Unlike tar, which works with files, CPIO works with std in, std out. This is good, but such an archive may contain some special files that are not properly processed. For example, you can get hard links split across multiple files, and for real backup in Unix-like systems, special programs have been developed that know about the internal structure of the file system. For example, dump and restore for X2, 3, 4 file systems, backup and restore, and XFS dump, XFS restore for XFS file systems, backup, restore. The main arguments are the list of files or directories for dump, and minus F for dump file, but we can also choose the dump level, which is just an integer. Level 0, full backup specified by -0, guarantees the entire file system is copied. Level number above 0 is so-called incremental backup. Tells dump to copy all files new or modified since the last dump of a lower level. The default level is 0, full backup. This makes it possible to implement various backup strategies. For example, you can create a full backup at the end of the week and then make incremental backups every day of the week. Then at the end of the week, for new full backup, you can use the oldest backup storage from the full backup pool. This way you will have weekly full backups for a specific period and daily saved states in incremental backups for a week or two. And then you can extract the full dump or individual files or directories from the saved dump using the restore utility. You can also do this interactively with I option.